Tennessee tried cheating to raid the Big 12 of their quarterbacks, but Rocco Becht and Josh Hoover and yes, Sawyer Robertson cannot be bought. Here's why.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello there, Bears fans. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Baylor, brought to you by Monarch Money. I'm your host, Cam Stewart of ESPN Central Texas and The Cam Show on YouTube. Appreciate you guys making this your first listen today and every day. And on this Wednesday, we are going over the fact that Tennessee cannot buy Sawyer Robertson, and we'll tell you why. Plus, the Bears in a battle with Utah for two different receivers in the transfer portal. Who is going to come out on top? And plus, if you're a good team, you're trying to get into the college football playoff, that's all well and great, but you better have eyeballs on you or you're not going. Another chapter in the broken history of the new college football. All that and more coming up on this episode of Locked On Baylor. Tennessee tried, man. They really tried. Just like Mama, they tried. They tried to buy some of the elite quarterbacks in the Big 12. Rocco Becht, Sam Leavitt, Josh Hoover, and yeah, Sawyer Robertson. Don't know what the exact figure was, but there was some contact there. And they couldn't do it. They thought they could just come in here in this minor league and whip us up, throw a couple of $1 million at a quarterback, and they were going to leave their cushy situation in the Big 12 and go and fight for the quarterback job at Tennessee. Instead, they got Joey Aguilar, who was at App State, transferred to UCLA last month, and once Nico Iamaleava came to UCLA, he must have said, well, I guess I'll just go to Tennessee. Why does this affect Baylor? Well, because Sawyer Robertson is going to be your starting quarterback in 2025. Good luck, everybody else. And this is about Sawyer because this is a Baylor show, but I'm proud. I'm proud of the quarterbacks of this conference, man. Even Josh Hoover, our rival at TCU, right? Rocco Becht, Sam Leavitt, who's just a poor man, Sawyer Robertson. Like, I love this. Everyone says there's no loyalty in college football anymore. I don't think that's right. We're seeing more disloyalty than ever, but it's the guys that stay that don't get the stories written about them. Okay, they don't have the think pieces. They don't have the rants on podcasts such as these. Right? They don't get that. Rob Wright gets that. Cam Carr doesn't. And Nico Iamaleava gets it. Sawyer Robertson does not. Loyalty is pretty alive and well. And it's not all about the money because trust me, I know of multiple Baylor players who have gotten offers of huge dollars, some north of $1 million, to go play in the SEC this year, and they're on Baylor's roster still. And Baylor, God love them, they can't offer that kind of money. But they're here. They believe in it. They believe in the coach. They believe in the team they have right now. Sawyer Robertson, chief among them. And some of the other guys on this team believe in Sawyer Robertson, and that's why they're here. And so this could have been devastating if Tennessee flashed a bunch of cash and got him to go to Knoxville. It's not going to happen. And instead, they got a guy in Joey Aguilar who's not nearly as good as Sam Leavitt or Josh Hoover or Sawyer Robertson. Fine quarterback at App State, right? I love this. The Tennessee fans in the mentions all the time, they don't want to drive down to the minor leagues and get someone from the Big 12. But when you can get somebody from the Sun Belt, how do you turn that down? No disrespect to App State, good program, but come on, guys. Come on, Tennessee fans. Maybe know your lane here. Stop trying to crap on the Big 12 and you're getting your quarterbacks from the Sun Belt. Oh, but he was a Big 10 quarterback for a month. He practiced in the Big 10. Congrats, man. And look, Joey Aguilar, decent, man. 3,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, 14 picks, QBR of 66, which means he threw for less yards, less touchdowns, more picks, and has about a QBR that's about 20 points lower than Sawyer Robertson. So for all the Tennessee fans that were in the comments, and I'm sure tweeting at you guys on social media saying, we don't want Sawyer Robertson. We've never even heard of that guy. I'm sure you've heard of Joey Aguilar, right? Surely you have. And I will call you Shirley. This is highlighting the good stuff of college football, and specifically around our Baylor program. Because what's amazing is that when we looked at it through the lens of basketball the last couple of weeks and months, and everybody's leaving to go get more money. And yet football doesn't have a huge budget either, not compared to Tennessee or UCLA or BYU or Utah. They don't have that kind of budget, and yet they're all staying. They stayed after 3-9. They stay after 8-4. They're staying. They actually believe in this. Michael Trigg, he's been a couple of different places in college football. He could have easily said, you know what? I've got the measurables. I've got the body. I've got the tape. I'm going to go to the NFL draft this year. I might not be a first-round pick, but somebody's going to get a diamond in the rough. He stayed. Sawyer Robertson could have took over $1 million to go and play at Tennessee, but he stayed. A couple of others have been offered high 6, low 7-figure dollar deals as well. And they're staying. There is something brewing here. Whether you like Dave Aranda or not, he's keeping guys here with a fraction of the checkbook that some of these SEC powerhouses have. That's got to mean something. And again, I'm not one of those guys who loves to pound their chest over the Big 12 in general. I like sticking up for the Big 12 against stuff like this. But I'm proud of this, man. Rocco Becht, you offer him a couple $1 million. Instead, he's donating to the Children's Hospital. Josh Hoover, Sawyer Robertson, Sam Levitt, you can't buy these guys. Our conference is in really good hands right now. And specifically, our football team at Baylor is in really good hands with Sawyer Robertson at the helm and Walker White right behind him. Walker White wasn't going in the transfer portal for more NIL money. Wasn't doing that. No, he wanted to come here. He said it on this show. He said, when this opportunity presented itself, I knew I had made the right decision. You can't buy Sawyer Robertson. You can't just throw a blank check at him and get him to come play in Knoxville. And from what I've heard, Sawyer really gave the cold shoulder through these people that Tennessee was trying to communicate to him with. He was not having any of this. So Tennessee, you can crap talk the Big 12 all you want, but until you stop fishing for quarterbacks in the Sun Belt, it's going to fall on deaf ears. Because, of course, now they'll say, you guys know exactly what they'll say. Oh, we didn't want him anyway. Aguilar, that guy's the real deal. We didn't want nobody from the Big 12. Rocco Becht, no way. Sawyer Robertson, never even heard of him. His name hasn't been mentioned once. That's because the only quarterbacks you know are DJ Lagway and Arch Manning, and that's not happening. Okay? It's not happening. And neither is Sawyer Robertson. And when, one of those guys gets into the college football playoff this year and Tennessee does not, then you'll know their names. You'll know who they are. By the way, one of them already has played in the college football playoff in the case of Sam Levitt. You'll know who these guys are. But this is a big, big win for Baylor. When I saw that come across my screen, Joey Aguilar going to Tennessee. They got a poor man, Sawyer Robertson. And they're trying to tell me they don't know who Sawyer Robertson is? Have fun with that. Baylor, though, you guys, us, this is great news. We are in great shape. We've got a guy who's not only one of the most talented quarterbacks in the entire country, in an offense that's tailor-made for his skill set, but he wants to be here. In 2025, when all you hear about is how everybody wants the money and this and that, Sawyer Robertson wants Baylor. He wants us. We should be thankful for that. And it's stuff like this. The fact that he turns down an offer like that from Tennessee, that should make you think this is going to be a special year. With Sawyer Robertson at the helm, it's going to be a special year. and a great supporting cast around them. And they could add to that soon because the Bears are portal hunting, especially at receiver. We got Sawyer in the door. Let's get some more weapons. They're going to be battling a conference rival for a couple of them. We'll tell you who those are, the team and the players, coming up next on Locked On Baylor. But first, let me ask you a question. You know what question I'm going to ask. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, NIL, well, not that one. It's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, okay? It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch Money to check all your finances, track spending, and even plan those long-term goals. And managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. So take the control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDON, COLLEGE, for half off your first year. Sawyer Robertson is staying in Waco. Tennessee flirted, but they struck out swinging. So Sawyer Robertson's here. He needs a few more weapons, though. Like, this is still a sturdy offense as it's constructed right now. But I've said it throughout the last few weeks and months, and it's become clear in the offers that Baylor sent out in the transfer portal in this window. They're looking to beef up at receiver a little bit. They've already brought in Kobe Prentice from Alabama in the first portal window, kind of that winter portal window. And now in the spring, they've sent out a couple of feelers already. Keelan Marion, right? The All-American kick returner from BYU. Trayshawn Hurry, also getting some love, and one who I think is probably a little bit more likely than Keelan Marion. They've also sent out an offer, and I think should have an interest in another one of these two guys that I'm about to talk about that both have ties to the University of Utah. Let's start first with Zacharias Williams. He enters the portal yesterday, so no official offer at the time of recording here, but this is a guy who is a big-time prospect for Utah, and one who, before the Utes fans get in the comments, the first story that comes up when you search his name has that, well, now it's the portal story, but the one before that has the headline of Zacharias Williams emerging as wide receiver 1 for Utah football. So a guy who was showing a ton of promise in spring ball, he's now out there on the market. He's only going into his sophomore season, so he has plenty of term left. He played in 10 games this past year, really only had an impact in one, which was their final regular season game, which they actually won against UCF, one of their 5 wins there. 6 receptions for 72 yards in that game, 10 receptions on the year. Certainly a guy who is going to be a big part of a revamped Utes offense this year, and everyone and their dog in the state of Utah loves Devin Dampier, except for maybe the guy who was going to be his number 1 receiver. Anyway, he comes out of Junipero Serra High School, California, by the way. That's the alma mater of both Barry Bonds and the great Tom Brady. And he comes in as a guy with a ton of promise. And he's got the frame at 6'2", 190. He's still filling out his body. That sounds a lot like Hal Presley to me. And that's one of the few receivers that you actually you need to replace if you're Baylor. So I'm seriously kicking the tires on Zacharias Williams if I'm Dave Aranda, Jake Spavital, and the Baylor Bears. Sawyer Robertson, if he wants to reach out as well, right? Like that combo of Williams on one side and Josh Cameron being on the other and taking a ton of the pressure off you with Ashton Hawkins working in the slot, that's a heck of a matchup there. That's a great way to ease a kid into being into big time college football in a way. You know, not to say that he couldn't be number 1 at Utah this year. I don't know that, but here you come and you can be a big part of the offense without having to be the number 1 option. So there's something out there. By the way, he's got an older brother who plays at San Diego State whose name is New Zealand. So talk about an all-name team, New Zealand Williams. Zacharias could be carrying on that to Baylor as well. But they also sent out an offer on Tuesday, and that is to McNeese receiver Jermichael Carter, who's actually scheduled a visit as well. He does have another Big 12 visit, and that's to the University of Utah. Okay, these things might be coming together here, if you're catching my drift. They announced the other day that Jermichael Carter was going to be making a visit to Utah, and the next day, Zacharias Williams goes into the transfer portal. In the midst of this, by the way, to link another Big 12 team back in here, in the midst of this, they struck out trying to get a visit from Micah Hudson, who is now back at Texas Tech. There's a ton of movement here, But Jermichael Carter will also be making a visit to Baylor. He's another guy with a couple of years of eligibility. He's got 2 years left, coming from McNeese. Bit more of a broad body, more of a Josh Cameron body. 6'4", 192, who comes in after a year at McNeese where, we saw McNeese play Tarleton early in the season. They weren't exactly lighting it up offensively. They didn't exactly have a great pass throwers, I guess, to get Michael Carter the ball. But still, he caught 37 balls for 537 yards and 3 touchdowns on the year. If you just place those numbers in the Big 12, which is a better conference, but with also a much better quarterback in Sawyer Robertson, he's your third leading receiver last year. Automatically at 537 yards, only 30 behind Ashton Hawkins, who was your number 2 receiver. And oh, by the way, if I haven't mentioned this already, you're bringing your top 2 receivers back. And Michael Trigg. So you want to come in and be a part of this Jake Spavital offense, not the new offense they have at Utah. Sawyer Robertson throwing you the ball instead of Devin Dampier. I think I know what option's the best. Okay? Zacharias Williams might have already noticed that. But Jermichael Carter will also be visiting Baylor as well as Utah. And if it's him or Trayshawn Hurry, I think Baylor's going to be in a good spot no matter who they get at the receiver position out of the portal. Because I do still like Kobe Prentice working in as one of the slot guys as well. But if you can line up with someone like Carter or Williams, and then 2 slot guys, which Jake Spavital will definitely employ, of Ashton Hawkins, Kobe Prentice, and then Josh Cameron, how are you going to stop that offense? How are you going to stop that team? With Sawyer Robertson delivering them the ball, and maybe the best running back in the Big 12 this year, the best in between the tackles running back this year in Bryson Washington, and honestly, maybe another top 5 running back in the Big 12 in Dawson Pendergrass. That is the makings of a legit frightening offense. It's pretty good right now. It's pretty good already. But you add one of these 2 guys to it. Golly, man. That's scary. That's keeping defensive coordinators up at night. And if you're buying into the Utah Kool-Aid, because I know a lot of Utah fans who have kind of come back, fired shots back at why they are the odds-on favorite to win the Big 12, or at least tied for that. If you believe in all of that, the improvements that Utah has made from the 2024 season where they had some big-time injuries into 2025, if you believe all that, and Baylor's able to take one guy from them, whether it's Zacharias Williams or Jermichael Carter, who they really want, then that is a big step towards being at the top of this conference, taking a big-time key piece away from a contender. I said it in the first segment. If something like this happens after the Sawyer Robertson momentum, after keeping some of the key pieces that have been offered a ton of money to go elsewhere, that's when you start to feel special coming along this season. And if you're taking one out from under the nose of a Big 12 contender, I'll put that in air quotes, contender. I feel weird calling them a contender after a 5-7 season, even with all the 1-score games. But if you're taking one out from under the nose of a contender in the Big 12, that makes this thing even better. Even better. Let me know what you guys think. down in the comment section below. Who are you looking at in the transfer portal? Which one of these guys would you rather have here? Would it feel pretty sweet to take one from Utah? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell to get notified every time we are going live and dropping videos on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We are on the march towards 4,000 subscribers, and we need your help, and we're getting your help every day. Keep that going. Find us on YouTube, and of course, wherever you get your podcasts. We're not done at Locked On Baylor because I haven't gotten very mad yet, but I'm going to. Because even if Baylor has a great year, there is still something that is hinging upon, that's not the word, them getting into the college football playoff, and it's complete BS. That's next on Locked On Baylor. So I know a lot of teams fans will think we're jumping the gun here, but Baylor, the way it's constructed right now, has to have aspirations for the college football playoff, right? 12-team format. You could easily get two Big 12 teams in there, especially the way the Big 12 looked towards the end of the season last year, and how good the quarterback play is in this conference. I think you could see more than one team in the college football playoff next year from this conference. But of course, the SEC and the Big Ten are trying to curb that as much as possible. They're trying to put more of their teams in and less of the plebs, as they see it, into the 12-team college football playoff, to the point where they are already meeting again, the CFP committee. So Mack Rhoades is in on that, by the way, about how to redo this seeding. Remember, they did the four conference champions as the top four seeds last year. I thought it was great. And look, it played out on the field. The SEC team beat the Big 12 team, and the Big 10 team beat the Mountain West team. But that's how it should be. Like, that's how the buys should be. You earn something by winning the conference championship. Well, they already don't like that. This is from a Heather Dinich story. She said, as currently constructed, the top four seeds in the college football playoff, each of which receives a first-round bye, are required to be conference champions, creating a conundrum in which some of the format's lesser teams can benefit from one of its biggest advantages. The SEC and the Big Ten want to address this. In February, Dinich reported that SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey and Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti want to see a, quote, straight seeding, end quote, from the College Football Playoff Committee while guaranteeing spots for 5 champions. Paul Feinbaum thought that was, quote, completely wrong, end quote, rare W for Paul Feinbaum, bemoaning the possibility that the 2 power conferences would ensure they'd get more automatic qualifiers than other conferences. So that's the first problem here. And again, I don't understand this because it played out. Like, Ohio State was what, an 8 or a 9? And they won the national championship. The SEC team, Texas, beat the Big 12 team, Arizona State, albeit barely, but they beat them. Penn State, the Big 10 team, beat Boise State. So what does it matter? Right? Especially in those top 4. Those top 4 aren't getting a campus game. So you're not even getting a road game. I don't understand. But it's this really fragile ego for Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey in those 2 conferences. I truly don't understand it. Oh, they didn't seed us right. Yeah, and the 8 still won the national championship. So I just don't understand what the complaint is here. But then it gets even worse. Because Heather Dinich writes this as she heads down to Dallas for the meetings. One possibility, which could be viewed as a compromise, is having conferences earn automatic bids through their play each season, a model in which each Power 4 league can earn guaranteed spots through a combination of its team's overall records and maybe even TV ratings, according to a source, could be presented. The highest ranking conferences would earn the most automatic bids. But come again? TV rankings? You have got to be kidding me. This is the ultimate saying the quiet part out loud. That is total and complete BS. I know people are sick of hearing college sports are done. College football's gone. It's not the same. But the reality is, A, it's already not the same as what it was 10 years ago. But B, if this somehow went through, then we're not even hiding anything. Like, because a school like Boise State or Indiana, who got in last year, one of them being in the Big Ten, would never get into the college football playoff again. Indiana's never going to get those eyeballs. Baylor, we're never going to get those. We could go 12-0 and beat ranked teams every week and win the conference, but if we don't have enough TV ratings, we're not going to get in. Or more realistically, be a 10-2 team with two teams or two losses to top 10 teams, one of them being in the, let's go 11-2, one of them being in the conference championship game and be ranked number 10 and not get in because more people watch Ole Miss than they watch Baylor? Are you kidding me? How is that? That's not just college football's gone. That's sports being gone. That's what we love about sports, man. Like, what an absolute crock. Like, one of the foundational sporting events, let alone college football games, of my childhood that got me really into sports and really into college football was the Fiesta Bowl in 2007 when Boise State upset Oklahoma. And you're meaning to tell me that my kid in the future, none in the oven, my kid in the future can't ever see that? Because he'll have to see Oklahoma versus Tennessee instead? Like, that's so gross, man. It's disgraceful. It's disgusting that this is even being talked about. And Mack Rhoades has a duty to laugh this thing out of the room. TV ratings. You can't be serious with that. Like, you've already taken and ruined most of the things we love about college football. And here you were 2 years ago making the 12-team playoff, which should do the opposite, which should give us all a chance. And instead, now you're thinking about amending it 1 year later and taking those chances away. We love college football and we love going to our alma maters or our hometown teams, our historic stadiums every Saturday, tailgating, singing the fight song, and rooting for our teams in the hopes that they can get to the glory days, the promised land. And dare I use our biggest rival, TCU, as the example. They got there. You know, they had the most embarrassing loss in CFP history, but they had the day. They got what we all wanted, the chance at that. And you're just going to take that away because more people watch Florida than TCU. Like, could you imagine? By the way, it's not even close. More people watch Florida and Nebraska than they watch Indiana and Boise State. Notre Dame's just going to be in there every year. We already bend over backwards for Notre Dame to get into everything. And oh yeah, by the way, a lot of people watch them on TV. I don't know who needs to hear this, but it doesn't matter who you put in the college football playoff. If it's the college football playoff and it's on national television and it's right before Christmas and then right on New Year's Day, people are going to watch. It's crazy that we're talking about this. Ohio State is not going to get exponentially more viewers than Indiana will in a college football playoff game because it's the college football playoff. It's ridiculous. The game's gone. Especially if they do this, it's completely gone. But the fact that we're even talking about this is insulting to our great game. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay? Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, tweet at us if you're listening to us on podcast form. You can find us on YouTube, of course, and wherever you get your podcasts. We're on the march to 4,000 subscribers, so hit that subscribe button and help us get there. And give me all your thoughts and rants in the comments below, and we will see you tomorrow on your favorite show, the number one source for Baylor sports news not coming straight from the university, and that is Locked On Baylor.